So these are just stages I feel everybody goes through, whether they know it or not. It starts with inspiration. You have to have that idea that gets you excited to build a magic system, and you need to know what the magic system is about. Once you have that point of inspiration, you need to do idea generation, because I try not to quote people too much, but Thomas Edison has a really good one that's to have great ideas, you need to have a lot of them. That's what idea generation is for. Coming up with as many varied ideas as possible, even if they're contradictory, even if they don't make sense, because that's where you're going to find the good ones, is in the host of just vast, sprawling brain dump that you dump out on the page. Once you've got that, you want to check alignment. You want to see, so specifically when I'm talking about magic systems, the inspiration is your starting point. The idea generation is all about what your system could be, all of the things that could factor in, the magical effects, the character moments, all of that. When you get to alignment, this is where you need to step back and compare it to the story that you want to tell, and look at the story and the setting so you better understand what your magic system needs to be. If you want to tell a story, a tragic story about somebody who has to sacrifice great power in order to maintain things they want, you need to make sure that that's reflected in your magic system. And that will help you start to trim down from the large number of ideas you have to the specific ones that will align with your goals for your story. And once you've done that, you can shift into the next stage, which is about definition. And most of the time when we talk about building magic systems, that's the stage most people that's what they jump to, that's what they think of. That's where you're really getting specific about, here are the magic effects they can do, here's who can do it, why they can do it, here's the rationale that makes it all make sense. And after definition, you have limitations. So we already touched on what it could be, what it needs to be. Definition is what it is. Limitations is all about what it isn't and what it can't do. And that's where a lot of the more interesting stuff really comes into play. Because if you're in a situation where the magic can't do the most obvious solution, you and your characters have to get creative with it. And that's always interesting. So limitations are incredibly powerful. And it's also important to understand that to prevent plot holes and other kinds of power creep. But after you have limitations, you then need to test it. You need to see how far the rules and structures that you put in place, how far can they go? How strong can this person get? What kind of things can they do with it? How is that going to affect your story? Can they generate infinite wealth? Are they effectively immortal? These are all things that affect your characters, your plot, and can create breaking points and problems. The last stage, some people get very frustrated when I get to this stage because you've gone through all of this work and then you get to the last stage, and the last stage is iteration. So you need to go back to the other stages and do them again. Because we don't have a perfect book in the first draft. You don't have a perfect magic system in the first pass. And you have discovered things about your magic system going through the other stages. You found plot holes and you found parts that are broken that you don't like. Go back to the beginning, recheck your inspiration, start generating ideas for solutions, go through the alignment, do your definition, do your relimitation, and then test it again. And that's the 7 stages that I like to guide people through.